You're probably a support main that is willing to step up his gameplay, improve, and climb the ladder. But you're a bit confused with all these item changes, buffs and nerfs, and you're wondering what is currently strong and what not. And you came at the right place. My name is Floxy, and today I'm doing a support tier list for patch 14.13. Let's go! Okay, here we go. The first champion onto the list is going to be an Alistar. Alistar itself is going to be an S plus tier among all the melee range supports that are coming to meta since 14.10 that we have previously shown that Varmog's buffs are very good. So let me explain that a little bit. From Varmog's previously, in previous patches, you would get 750 HP. The passive itself that would trigger, it would be on 1.3k, but the new Varmogs that has some changes in it would give you 1000 HP. So if you do the math correctly and you build Alistar as a support, not full AP Alistar because I've seen everything, you do the 1000 HP from the Varmogs, you get the 200 HP from your support item, and on top of that you're gonna just have to build a little bit above, and you're just gonna have 100 HP for yourself and to get the Varmog's passive that is going to be the 2.5 health regeneration over 50 or 60 seconds. So Alistar among Rel, like Nautilus, like some of the Leonas as well that we're gonna talk about in a bit, S plus tier is going to be super good. Second champion that we're going to talk about is going to be Amumu, and Amumu is very good. He got his changes with Varmogs as well. He got his buffs and everything, but I do personally think that Amumu is very simple for lower elo support players. He's going to be pretty much like easy to execute with a double Q ability, AoE ultimate. So if you're pretty much like lower-ish elo support main, this one is going to be pretty good. B tier because there are a lot of the champions currently with Varmog's buffs that are going to do the Amumu things a little bit better. Engages are going to be better. Alistar itself that we previously talked about, he can be very good in some of the engaged champions themselves. For example, Leona, for example, Rel as well, because he can disengage by himself. Amumu can do it the same, but throwing himself into the fire and risking to die. So for Amumu, he's going to be a B tier. Next up into the list is going to be a Blitzcrank, and Blitzcrank is pretty easy to execute, straightforward champion that is going to be like hooking, finding the angles, possible invades. If you get a prio into the lane, he can be pretty annoying for the enemy team. With a good vision, with a nice awareness of the positioning of the enemy team, you can just like wait into the bush, sneak a bit, and just find the pick with the Blitzcrank. The Blitzcrank itself is pretty good into some enchanters, like for example Milo currently, that is very strong with all the Echoes of Helia buffs. So that way he's pretty much like higher ranked. So for Blitzcrank, and if you're willing to just find some fun into supporting, Blitzcrank is the way. He's very fun. Next up onto the list is going to be the Bard. The Bard itself is going to be pretty much like from the changes of the items and support items and everything, and since the Blood Song came and without these additional nerfs and everything, Bard was very good. Like, they built the Blood Song just for Bard. And with the changes of the Varmogs, the Bard itself actually gained as well on popularity as well, because he can have right now the HP, he can just face check, he can play the ultimate tank and everything. Previously, people that played Bard, they were a little bit scared of everything that was happening, because you would build, for example, Frozen Heart in previous metas that wouldn't give you that much of an HP stats and everything, and they were scared to face check, they were scared to actually do the W face check, or just like walk in, beat a body block for their AD carries in the team. So basically, with all these changes, you should not have a problem with Bard. Bard is pretty good at standing. So for Bard, it's going to be in BNA. Next up into the list is going to be a Braum. Braum by himself, like with the combination with Lucian, and basically with any other AD carry, it's going to be very good. Braum is easy to execute. Your job is just to right click anybody that comes to your melee range, Q somebody that isn't in your melee range, raise the shield, and stand behind Braum. Boys, he's gonna do everything. So I've seen a lot of Reddit threads how Braum is broken, how he needs to be nerfed and everything. Leave the Braum as it is for us support players. I do think that the Braum is very friendly champion that is going to be, I mean, friendly for you and your team, but like for the enemies, you're gonna be always having some difficulties. So for Braum, I do think that he's very strong, very easy to execute. So for him, it's going to be an S+. Next up onto the list is going to be a Brand. And Brand himself, he's going to be in the category of the mages. Riot themselves actually said that they are actually willing to remove the mages, they're willing to bring back the enchanters with all these Echoes of Helia buffs, with all these like Varmox buffs and something like that. So I do think that Brand is fairly easy to execute. With like that huge AoE W, you can have some problems with the Q navigation and everything, but like once you're mastering the movement of the enemies and you're actually seeing the pattern how they're moving, Brand AoE AP damage, single target damage as well, he's very good. I do think he as a single AP in a team is very good as well, but in jungle, because he's fast clear, actually gives him a little bit of a tempo, and he can be very good in those sense. Onto the bot lane, we have much better options, so let's go for the Brand and D tier. I actually forgot, into the D tier we're gonna put as well Ashe. I actually didn't see the Ashe in there, so basically I'm gonna need to check a couple of supports on my right side, so I do not actually forget about anybody. Ashe into D tier just because I do think that all these melee supports, if they run at you, she's gonna be pretty much like vulnerable. She can poke out. She's having the best and biggest range out of AD carries into the game, so she's pretty much rewarded with that. But onto the side of supports, supporting and everything, I do think if you utilize the kit of Ashe, poking, auto attacking and everything, she can be very beneficial. But then it comes to spacing, not having enough of the escape tools and everything. You're relying on your flash and everything, but Ashe's E ability is pretty much like very strong with combination if you're maybe dual Q with your jungler, so you can give him a little bit of an extra information on how is everything working. So Ashe is going to be a D tier. Camille, I do have a feeling that Camille players are very talented to recognize like level 2s. They're basically built up to pick a Camille, push for level 2, first wave and the 3 melee minions of the second wave, and they're just jumping on your head, making sure that you guys are struggling into the lane. So Camille itself is a bruiser champion that can be pretty much like, if you're playing her against Braum, she's gonna be jumping on your head, Braum is gonna raise the shield and pretty much like auto attack you, and then with all that kit that she has pre-6, that could be very dangerous. And Camille is not at the best state right now as she was previously. Very fun to play though. If you get level 2, you're gonna be hated by the enemy bot lane, so try it out and let me know. Next up onto the list is going to be, give me a second, is going to be let's go for the mages. I'm gonna speak about Heimerdinger and Have into the same manner. I'm gonna skip the Fiddlesticks because I do not think that Fiddlesticks is very good as well, so I would put him in the D tier as well, but at the end of the day, you can navigate on that one as well. Galio as well, he can be C to B tier, but like they're pretty much like more focused about their lanes as well. These two were played previously into the previous patches, previous professional games, so let's talk about these two. Hwei individually, I do really think that he is onto the mid lane very, very powerful champion with so much range, utility, so much presence that he can give to his team. So onto the mid lane, I do think as a champion that is going to be getting gold influx, that is going to be having pretty much items and pretty much like freedom to shove in the wave, clear the waves as a solo wave clearing champion. He's very, very good. Onto the bot lane, you can find yourself in a tricky situation because you can be pretty much trapped by, for example, some Blitzcranks, some bards and everything. Yes, you can fear them, but that is not gonna stop a bard or Blitzcrank player to actually run you down. As well as Heimerdinger, he can be very, very boring in a matter of fact of him engaging constantly with you, not going in, but like placing his turrets, pushing you out of the lane and everything. But with his turrets and everything, Blitzcrank can have a little bit of a problem, but if you scroll up the list, you're gonna see the Bard is pretty highly ranked, and he just builds the Varmogs, he stuns you off of your turret, and pretty much Heimerdinger cannot do that much. So that's why all the mages are going to pretty much be moved towards a lower tiers. Next onto the list is going to be a Janna. Janna is pretty strong currently. With all the recent changes that happened to Varmogs, actually they did something for enchanters as well. So with Echoes of Helia previously, you would have a little bit of a damage, a little bit of a shielding power, healing power, and then you would have 3 stacks. Now you're gonna be having 2 stacks. Stacks are not actually getting scaling or anything, so you build Echoes of Helia always first. You're gonna be dealing damage more, you're gonna be healing and shielding more, so that's why Echoes of Helia on Janna, on Milo, Rush, that's going to be the play. You go for that, and basically you're never gonna be regretting. So Janna, highly marked as a S+ tier just because of that change, and pretty much like the champion that can cancel the Alistar engage. If you get hooked by Blitzcrank, yes, that's going to be in his favor, but then you can instantly cast your Q, so you can be pretty much like, if you have a flash, you can reposition yourself with that Q. Peeling potential with the Q and ultimate, very, very good. Janna is one of the champions that can be pretty much like solo peeling a whole team, so I would rate Janna S+ for now, until they kill Echoes of Helia. Next into the list is going to be the Karma. Okay, so with the Karma, she is very, very powerful for a long time. I do feel like that she was very good into the top lane, into the previous patches. She was very, very good at laning, trading, and everything. Onto the bot lane as well. Currently, Karma is very, very strong. She can trade with the mages and enchanters. If I'm looking this Janna Karma matchup, Mantra Q, very, very good for trading, poking, being annoying, and soaking up the potions from the enemy team, as well as Mantra W to self-sustain, and Mantra E to sustain her team. So Karma, very, very good. Currently S tier. Very easy to execute, so I would most certainly recommend. Leona, next in place is going to be Leona, very, very good champion. Currently, again, one of the champions that is very and fairly easy to execute. Varmogs buffs brought back Leona to the meta, and I do feel like that Leona players are very happy because of that change, because into the professional play we can see some of the Leonas coming back, Leona even having a prio pick, so Leona is definitely back. So for Leona is going to be an S+ tier. Next up is going to be a Lulu. Individually and within the team, Lulu has been very, very strong. I know that personally I do have, when they lock Kog'Maw and Lulu, I do have some sort of negative vibe towards it, because she's very good at peeling. She's very good at focusing the one target with her squirrel. She can be turning the ganks upside down for your team. So Lulu, as every enchanter, pretty much, I would say that Janna is a little bit more not complicated, but Janna needs to be a little bit more time to understand when to Q, when you shouldn't Q, and everything. With Lulu, it's straightforward. You just speed somebody up, poke with the Q, E a little bit, and ulti is of course there to make your AD carry as big as possible, so he can carry the fights. Next up into the list is going to be Lux. Lux is, as all mages, as previously said, I do not say that mages are pretty, or like by any means just like not playable or anything. I recommend you playing every single one of these champions, but I do have a feeling that some of the champions do have priorities because of the item changes. Lux with Hwei, with Brand, pretty much alongside along their side, being in there that D tier, just because this is Enchanter and tank meta, majors are going to be chilling for now. So for Lux, it's going to be a D tier. Next up is going to be the Maokai. I really enjoy Maokai support because you can frustrate people onto the bot lane with that empowered ease from the bushes. Engage is pretty straightforward. With that W, you push your enemy towards your team with the Q as well, and then objective setup is very good as a support. And of course, in jungle, Maokai is very strong. He places his ultimate, buys like pretty much like half of the map of space, and pretty much like is very good currently. In a matter of fact, if you're looking for a easy support to execute along those S tier champions, so and S plus of course, but like currently Maokai very good. Now we're coming up to something that or somebody that I'm actually playing very much recently, and I'm debating with myself, should I put it on A or S tier. Echoes of Helia, of course, helped in Milio's performance and stats and everything, and I'm always a fan of Milio because of the kit that Champion has, and pretty much like the new skins that they launched. Like new skin is pretty cool. Kit wise, pretty strong champion. Champion that is coming from like one slow and steady laning phase. He can play against melees as well. He can actually negate Alistar's engage and everything. He struggles a bit against hooky champions that are very strong right now. For example, Blitzcrank, for example, thresh, Nautilus as well, and so on and so on. They're very strong, so that actually makes me want to put Milio lower. But Milio is very good self-peeling and the group peeling champion. So if you pick him up, you're not gonna be disappointed. We're coming to another mage, Morgana. Pretty much like D tier. I didn't see Morgana in solo queue in a long period, so that does actually say something. Next on to the list is going to be a Nami. For Nami, I would put it like S tier. I will put her at S tier, just because I do think that Echoes is pretty much going to be built on Nami, of course, but that mandate is, of course, need to have in first few items. So very strong, very individually good at as peeling into the trading in lane as well. Basically, that W is pretty strong. Then you E your AD carry, and you can be pretty annoying. So with the Nami, you can try to of course play into the melees. You can play in the ranges. So currently Nami is at a very good state. So Nami players, keep up the good work and just play your champion. Then we're coming to Nautilus. Nautilus is for a long time on professional scene very good champion, just because he's pretty straightforward. Nautilus within the as well, we're gonna talk about the Tamkench as well. Combinations with Senna, very good. Building the tank stats, because of course in that lane Nautilus is going to be the one that is going to be farming, building up his CC, or his kit is just the CC. He right clicks, you're CCing people, you're slowing people with E, you're ulting, you can actually hit multiple people, and of course you're pretty good with the hook against some of the squishier champions. So Nautilus, highly recommend, very easy to execute, S tier. After Nautilus we have Nico. I did say that mages are actually bad in that sense and everything, because mages are straightforward. Mages are going to be the ones that are going to be dropping the rotations, trying to get your HP as low as possible, and basically just trying to get in small periods of time, deal the damage, and get out. Nico is the type of support that is very good, just because her potential of the engage. W sets up perfectly, ultimate E pretty much like champion that is very built up around around very good and nicely engaging supports, or basically the supports that can support players that can actually do that. If you pick up Nico, you can expect a lot of fun as well as very good setups for the future team fights. Besides Nico, we're having Pantheon. Pantheon is somewhere into this between C and D tier. He's AD melee. When he clicks W, he can pretty much, like, when he's ahead, like in every champion, he can pretty much be boring and he can one-shot you. But like currently, you're building Varmogs on tanks, so who is he gonna be one-shotting? If he tries to jump on me as a Janna, I'm gonna Q him, and basically that's the where the story ends. So Pantheon is going to be a C tier. Next onto the list is going to be a Poppy, and I would put her in B, just because I do think that Poppy is going to be very strong into the engaging champions. She's one of the reasons, and if you're watching LEC, Mickey X and all the supports are picking Poppy as a flex pick into the top lane, jungle, and support as well, because of that potential engage from the enemy side, and so on and so on. So Poppy, very powerful into engaging champions this way. Individually, if you're willing to blind her and everything, I wouldn't recommend, because there are plenty of better options. Pike, this is where it gets all shiny. Pike players finally, and in recent with lethality buffs and everything, like Pike is just super fun. You get in, you get out in a matter of seconds. You're just like enjoying your life. My good friend of mine is actually a Pike main, and he's very enjoying this current patch. You can one-shot people, you can disappear, hook the Milo if he's finding himself into the bad position, and so on and so on. So you just have to walk in and basically be the Pike. So Pike definitely S+ tier, very good solo queue champion, plenty of setup and plenty of carry potential. So highly recommend the Pike. Another champion that I would highly recommend, not because I was maining him or anything, but like because I really enjoy the kit of the champion itself, is going to be Rakan. In LCK and LPL, people are picking a Rakan as a counter to somewhere of Leona or something like that, and individually he can be very good with, for example, Zeri, or combined with any specific AD carry pick. Zai is not that strong currently, but himself as a champion onto the Rift, he can be very powerful. So Rakan S tier, he can be very good at those solo engages. You can find the window gap. The tricky part is what kind of combination of the angles you're gonna use, so you can get closer to the enemy backline, enemy champions that you want to reach and everything. So not because I'm a Rakan main, he can actually be a little bit more tough to find an angles to engage, but definitely try out Rakan. You're not gonna regret that. Another champion that is coming very like from deep down. She was she was out. She saw the day of Summoner's Rift, but she wasn't that strong. Then she came back with all the jungle nerfs. She came back as a very strong jungler, and then they killed all the jungler stuff that she can provide, bonus damage onto the monsters. Now Vormog's buffs, let's go. One of the with Rakan, very interesting champions to play. Rel, S+ tier, pretty much like I really enjoy playing Rel. Ranata, I would put Ranata somewhere in between S and A tier. As you probably saw into professional plays, they're also purchasing the Varmogs on Ranata as well. So basically, all that previous patches where they nerfed the Shrelia, that they didn't give it health and everything, that actually killed the vibe for Renata. But now that you can build Varmogs, very good champion, very good kit, interesting, can be as well as aggressive and passive, good at engaging, good at disengaging. Ultimate is just better, the best ultimate at the game. So Renata, I would highly recommend picking up. Okay, next up is going to be a Senna. with all due respect to all my students that actually listen to me to play the Senna and everything, I influenced a lot of the people, and I really enjoyed Senna. Senna became very strong as an AD carry or as a bot laner in general. We can see she's still the prio pick, the prio ban into the professional play, but as a support, no. I would suggest you actually pairing it up with a good tank or something. But if you're playing it with a friend, that could be good. But if you're playing it with an AD carry that is going to be a solo queue, I tend to find people that are very boring and that they're actually trying to avoid Senna, so they've been dodging. Senna currently not that good, so C tier for her. With all the respect to my champion. Seraphin is going to be next in play. Again, Enchanter, tank. I'm gonna sound boring and everything, but like Seraphin is pretty much like an W bot while you're into the team fight. I don't mean any very offensive way or something like that. I do think that standing with Seraphin, stacking her passive, and then having that utility with a W is very valuable. She can be very tricky to play because she is pretty immobile, so if you get caught with the rotation of not having the flash, not having the sustain abilities and everything, I do think that Seraphine can be very tricky to execute. But if you're willing to actually play something more like Janna with a little bit more fun with the ultimate lining up, trying to find an angle and everything, I do think Seraphine is the choice for you. At the end of the day, we're still exploring and everything. Shen, tank support, good ultimate, good utility. W is pretty good, but I don't think that Shen is something that should be played in these metas, because like I do have a feeling that much higher tiers are having the priorities and much easier champions. But hey, I'm not gonna judge. If you're enjoying Shen, I support you. Pick up the Shen, but he's not that good at current state. Sona, B or C tier, pretty much. If we're making this as a professional tier list, she would be like lower ranked because of the low HP. She's pretty much like, yes, I'm gonna say immobile, but like she has that E ability. She can like pretty much get the movement speed and everything, but that gap close and everything, and pretty much like she cannot deliver the level of play that Lulu does, that Karma does, that Janna does. So that's going to be the A tier for Sona. I'm gonna be generous. Okay, next in line we have Saraka. As a Saraka, your kit is very simple. So your champion is pretty much designed to poke with the Q, heal with the W, and then do some cheeky zoning with the E. Either teammates go through it and get stunned, either they're just gonna be backing off. So basically, I liked Soraka's design, and with all the pretty much like the Enchanter kind of supports, I would put her within the A tier just because how strong the Enchanters are at the moment. She's pretty easy to execute as well, so basically you can pick up Saraka and find so much success. Next up onto the list is going to be the Swain. Swain himself, I would personally put him at C or D tier. As a mage, like we previously talked about, he's not at the best possible spot for a bot laner, for a support. So he gives a little bit more of a sort of ability with his ultimate ability, a couple of pick-offs potential with an E, and then very boring W ability from across the map, but nothing more than C tier for Swain. After Swain, we have Tahm Kench. I really love Tahm Kench. The kit of the champion is pretty much like if you pair it up with Senna, everybody knows about fisting Senna, and with the Senna it's a level above, because I do think that the bot lane is functioning very well, but individually Tahm Kench is very well tanky, has a kit to save the teammates and so on. So basically I do think that Tahm Kench belongs to the A tier. Now we come to a champion that is very, very strong against melees. The next champion is going to be Taric. As you can see, there are a lot of melee champions that are currently in meta. Taric is not that popular pick into the pro play because it has its own problems and everything. But like for a solo queue, if you're seeing somebody pick Rakan, you pick Taric or whatever is melee. Taric is just bullying all the melees because of the champion design. It has a sustain, it has pick of potential, and the ultimate is huge time buyer, and the Taric is pretty much like a melee range crusher. So huge thumbs up for Taric. Next into the list is going to be thresh. I would put thresh highly into the S tier just because thresh is never left out of meta. He's wiggling up, down, and thresh is always finding a play. If you're a good thresh, your team is going to be super happy. They're gonna be amazed by amazing hooks if you can predict the enemy movement. So if you're a good thresh, there is no bad meta for you. Thresh is an awesome champion overall. I would rate Vel'Koz, Xerath, and Zyra together. Although I would put Zyra at C because or B, let's put it at B, because her lane presence can be a little bit more boring towards these enchanters that are willing to trade with her. Her kit is made for pickoffs, damages, and do not be surprised if your support is actually out damaging you at the end of the day. Why Xerath and Vel'Koz into the D tiers? I really enjoy the champion designs about like all the skill shots that you can provide and that you can land if you're very good. Of course, as every champion, you're gonna be rewarded, but for a champion or for a player that is willing to climb the ladder and everything, these champions are a little bit too complex, and we can just like simplify it with a little bit easier options, and plus on top of that, mages are not at the best state for bot lane right now, so that's why they're at the D tier. And last but not least, Yumi and Zilean are the twos that are left out. Yumi absolutely D tier. Zilean, I would put him at A. Just because like I've put Yumi at D just because at the solo queue you're willing to make a play, you're willing to do something for your teammates, or if you're just saying that people are not responding to that, you're just gonna play your game and actually try to push your play as the main one. But as a Yumi, you're sticking to one person. It can be tricky. You cannot gank setup. You cannot peel anybody that well. Yumi is very powerful, but for the solo queue, I do not think that you're gonna be able to find much impact as a Yumi if you don't win straight away into the lane. Zilean as well, my friend has a beautiful saying that if you're a Zilean OTP and you're not challenger or at least high elo, you're doing something wrong, and I do really enjoy Zilean with his slows, with his speed ups, with passive is very interesting as well. Of course, there is ultimate, to not forget about it. So good Zilean, put him at A, and basically you can just expect so much more from Zilean. Okay, that would be all. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, because there's a lot more to come. If you would rate any champion differently, write it down into the comment section. I would love to hear your opinions. Until the next time, good luck into the solo queue, and bye bye.